Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, it's 5 a.m. Well, will kids be back in the classroom next month? That's a debate taking place across the country and here locally. One school district has an answer. We'll explain.
And lots of confusion surrounding if Kern County will see more closures after Governor Gavin Newsom's announcement. Kern Public Health now tweeting that we are in the clear for now.
And the search is on for a missing man in the Kern River. Officers are pleading to stay out of the water as another person has fallen victim to the dangerous current. Well, good morning. I'm Nicole Gitzke in for Maddie Jansen alongside Taylor Schaub in for Alex Fisher. And we have seen some cooler temperatures per se.
Cooler is a little bit of a stretch, but it's getting better as we send things over to Kevin for your forecast.
Well, we were under 100 degrees yesterday. That's always good to see. In fact, our high for your Tuesday, look at that, 99 degrees. And today we're going to be close to that once again. So no big time warm-ups on the way. Let's show you what it looks like outside right now. And we've got clear skies around Kern County. This is looking off to the east. Our temperature right now at 76 degrees. A light wind out of the north-northeast at 7 miles per hour. And if you're just waking up with us and maybe you're going to take that walk, well, skies are clear. Nothing to worry about on that front. And the dog walk forecast for you today. Starting out 8 a.m., 77 degrees, a nice walking temperature. But as we progress again into the afternoon, we're going to be in the upper 80s by 11. So a little cautionary statement there in terms of heading on out. And then later on this afternoon, we are expecting the 90s. So just make sure our pets have plenty of water and plenty of shade throughout the day. 61 degrees in Tehachapi at this time. A light wind out of the west at 6. And as we take a look at the wind forecast for today into the mountains, shouldn't be a problem at all. We are expecting just a light breeze, but that will be it. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour forecast out of the Tehachapi area. We're going to start out 7 a.m., 64 degrees, and then upper 80s as we progress throughout the afternoon. I'll have much more on your forecast that's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks for that, Kevin. Well, in a unanimous decision, the Bakersfield City School District finalized its back-to-school plan, deciding it's safest to return 100% virtually next month. The district will continue distance learning for the first quarter, then revisit the issue. Once it's safe to do so, it hopes to bring students back in cohorts. One group will attend schools Mondays and Tuesdays, and another group Thursdays and Fridays. Other school districts also have finalized plans, including Edison, Rosedale, Union, Lamont, and DeGrugio. Bakersfield College and CSUB have decided they will hold the majority of their classes online.
Well, the school year is just around the corner. Some districts have yet to make a decision. The Kern High School District will have a virtual board meeting at 2 p.m. today to discuss plans, and Vineland is meeting physically at their district office at 6 p.m. today. Next Monday, the 20th Delano Union School District is set to meet at 5 p.m.
Well, there are more than 3.4 million confirmed coronavirus cases in the U.S., according to Johns Hopkins University.
And some health experts are concerned about what will happen later this year when schools are back in session. John Lorink reports.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention makes it plain. Americans should wear a mask while in public.
Face coverings are the key. You know, if you really look at it, the data is really clear. They work. You know, we're not defenseless against this virus.
CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield says masks will be a main factor in the reopening of schools.
Face coverings are not a symbol, but they're actually a very important preventive intervention that can really block this virus.
Although cases continue to rise across the nation and some states have postponed or rolled back reopening plans, there is a ray of good news. A phase 1 study on a COVID-19 vaccine looks positive so far, according to its maker.
The big question that we have to answer, that everybody wants the answer to, is does that mean people will then be protected if they take this vaccine? And we don't know the answer to that.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, a member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, says no vaccine is 100% effective, but it could help get the crisis under control.
I think as we get into the year of 2021, the companies who are involved in making the vaccines promise that we'll have many doses to the tune of a couple of 100 million.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, Kern Public Health announced another 158 COVID cases yesterday and no new deaths. Our death toll stands at 98. Over 2,200 people are isolated in their homes. 142 are being treated at local hospitals, and 62 patients are in the ICU. That's 5 more patients than the state reported on Monday. And we will bring you updated numbers from public health in a few hours.
There have been mixed signals between the county and state. Tuesday, the county of Kern tweeted that we will not be included on the state's monitoring list after all, and will not need to issue any closures or modifications this weekend. However, the state said Monday we were on its watch list, and therefore would need to shut down gyms, salons, and other indoor operations. Well, later that day, we were off that list, but county officials can now confirm they are not expecting to issue any new closures this weekend. The county says they will tell us more on their briefing tomorrow.
So why the confusion? Well, the short answer is when Kern Public Health reports new cases each day, the figures often are not reflective of where the numbers actually stand right now. 17's Eitan Wallace explains.
The county releases new data every day, sharing the number of new COVID cases with the general public. But just how new is that data? Public Health Assistant Director Bryn Kerrigan says the figures are usually not representative of where we stand today.
That now we're experiencing some delays in receiving test results. The test results we're receiving today are typically from 5 to 7 days prior.
Supervisor Leticia Perez noted the delays could be taking place because of increased demand for testing, an increase believed to be making the entire reporting process slower.
Testing result lag is actually what's making it look like our average daily cases or our active cases are going down when in fact they are not.
Now, County Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop said Kern is not on the state's watch list as of last night, and he doesn't know when we might be on that list. Now, Kern was in violation of certain state requirements as of Sunday and Monday, but we weren't in violation of those same requirements on Tuesday. So the closure clock starts over. County has to fail meeting certain metrics for 3 consecutive days to be put on that list. And then there's a 3-day grace period before sanctions or closures are imposed on non-essential businesses.
Happening today, the Mission at Kern is hosting another food distribution program for families impacted by COVID-19. The Mission has been handing out protein boxes full of meat and cheese to the community every Wednesday for several weeks now. The meals are provided by the USDA Farm to Families program and are designed to feed a family of 6 for 1 week. The Mission will continue the food giveaway every Wednesday from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. through August. Welcome back. Search and rescue crews were back at the Kern River Tuesday looking for another person who went missing. Sergeant Zach Biddle says a 30-year-old man went in the water about a half mile inside the mouth of the canyon and didn't resurface. It's unclear if he fell in or was going for a swim.
We know he was up here with a friend from the Los Angeles area. There was a Good Samaritan passerby who tried to help him out and followed the person in the river for a short time until he was lost.
Sergeant Biddle says the current is too dangerous for divers, so the crews were standing on the river's edge using binoculars to try to find the man. He was not wearing a life vest.
Well, one person is dead this morning after a crash in South Bakersfield. That accident happened just before 6:30 yesterday evening at the intersection of South H Street and Hendricks Lane. That's just south of Wilson Road. According to Bakersfield Police, a car and a motorcycle collided. Officers performed CPR on the motorcyclist until firefighters arrived and took over. The man was taken to Kern Medical where he was pronounced dead. The driver of the car stayed at the scene. BPD says it does not appear drugs or alcohol were factors in that crash. They're asking anyone with information to call 327-7111.
In your 17 Court Watch, a 21-year-old man accused of raping a woman at gunpoint has been ordered to stand trial. According to court records, Armando Avalos Jr. faces 11 felonies, including kidnapping, making terrorist threats, and multiple sexual assault charges. A woman told investigators Avalos punched and choked her inside his car after she rebuffed his advances at a local park last August 4th. She claims he then drove her somewhere in the mountains where he raped her at gunpoint. The next hearing for Avalos is set for July 24th.
Crime in Delano will be at the forefront of a virtual town hall meeting today. It's hosted by the city's police department. Chief Robert Navarez will speak along with other guests. Then it will be the public's turn to share their concerns about crime and other problems. The meeting starts at 5:30 and will be held online. And in Delano this year, 8 people have been killed in shootings. Chief Navarez blames the violence of gangs. A pastor in Delano wants the families of crime victims to join him with photos of their loved ones for a rally at City Hall to call for an end to violence. It's happening Sunday night at 7 p.m.
Kern County courthouses will allow members of the media and the public to observe proceedings in person, provided they follow health and safety guidelines. That's according to an order issued Monday. The Constitution states courtroom proceedings must remain open to the public, but the coronavirus pandemic made it necessary to at times limit in-person access to the proceedings. Anyone wishing to enter a Kern courthouse must wear a facial covering. Judges may limit access on a case-by-case basis depending on the space available.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, the federal income tax deadline is here. It was, of course, postponed because of the coronavirus pandemic. If you are filing, you might want to do so online. There was a huge backlog of paper tax returns because so many IRS employees have been working from home. That means taxpayers who already filed a paper return may be waiting a while for any refunds. Also know that you can request an extension to October 15th, but still need to submit an extension form by today. Well, better put on a mask if you're heading over to Best Buy. The store now joins the list of retailers requiring customers to wear a mask or face covering at all stores, even in states or cities where they're not required. Last week, Starbucks announced a similar measure. The new policy for both chains goes into effect today. Best Buy will provide a face covering to customers who don't have one, while young children and those unable to wear a mask for health reasons may enter without one. The company says customers who have concerns about wearing a mask can still buy online and get home delivery or curbside pickup. Well, this morning, there's a new entrant in the so-called streaming wars. NBC's Universal is launching its Peacock streaming service nationwide. The company is playing catch-up with established rivals, but has hopes for major elements will play in its favor. Mark Barger reports.
This is Peacock.
Peacock, baby!
The newest streaming service is counting big on one word. Free. That's because the service from NBC News' parent company, NBC Universal, is ad-supported.
People have been conditioned to kind of question, is it really free? But it really is free.
It offers more than 13,000 hours of brand new, as well as vintage TV shows.
What? No, you are.
Plus classic movies, live news, and sports.
I think consumers are starting to question how many of these different streaming services do I actually need to pay for?
Peacock's counting on that possible subscription fatigue as it battles established streaming rivals in an uncertain economy.
People can jump in, jump out, decide if they like it, decide if they don't, and they don't have to offer up a credit card.
But Peacock will offer 2 paid tiers with even more content at $4.99 with limited ads or $9.99 for none at all.
We're really looking at this through the lens of the consumer, and we think that this is a really great value.
The service will be available on most mobile devices and gaming systems, as well as many smart TVs. But not in the mix at launch are Roku and Amazon Fire TV, which combined reach 80 million homes.
It's a huge group of people that would be locked out from watching this service on the ideal screen in their house.
Peacock's working to resolve that issue as it eyes 2021 and the arrival of more original content, as well as The Office.
That's what she said.
And some events of the Tokyo Olympics.
We believe Peacock is the right product at the right time.
Consumers get to decide if that faith is well placed.
Very entertaining.
Mark Barger, NBC News.
Well, millions of iPhone owners can now submit claims for part of a $500 million settlement. It stems from a years-long legal debate where Apple admitted it used software updates to purposely slow down its phones. The company says it did so to protect phones with older batteries. Many owners believe it was a ploy to nudge them to buy newer, faster models. People who purchased several different iPhone 6 or 7 models before December 21st of 2017 are entitled to receive $25 per activated device. Those claims must be filed by October 6th. The head of the CDC warns this fall and winter could be rough as coronavirus hits flu season.
But we learned overnight that soon the agency's experts won't be in charge of tracking those numbers. NBC News' Washington correspondent Tracy Potts has that story.
President Trump lands in Georgia today, one of 22 states setting records for new coronavirus cases. Atlanta is starting school online, despite his insistence that kids go back to class.
It is a balancing act, but that we have to open our schools. But I also say a decision like that is politics, because we're starting to do very well in the polls.
Internal documents obtained by NBC show the government's stockpile of personal protective equipment is critically low. And new overnight, the CDC will no longer control coronavirus numbers. The Trump administration is asking hospitals to bypass the agency and send daily reports directly to a new system set up by the administration. Unemployment's expiring.
The last checks will be going out the last week in July. So it is absolutely urgent that we pass the legislation.
But Democrats and Republicans have different priorities.
Liability protections, kids back in school, jobs/unemployment, and health care.
Democrats promised relief by the end of the month. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says lawmakers should cancel their summer break next month if they can't get it done sooner. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.